Good afternoon from AlphaCars. My name is Tom, coming to you from our Northampton location, and today we're going to be taking a look at this 2016 Land Rover Range Rover Supercharged. Now this Range Rover is currently showing just over 59,000 original miles, and if you would like to see a high-resolution detailed photo set, please reference the listing at alphacars.com. There, of course, you will also find a free included Carfax report alongside a long list of technical data related to the vehicle's remaining tire and brake life, as well as individual readings from each panel using our paint depth gauge. But today I'll be taking you on a quick condition overview around both the interior and the exterior of the vehicle, as well as showing you some of its more notable features. Now, starting here on the exterior, of course, the first thing you'll notice is this gorgeous two-tone color scheme. On the upper portion of the vehicle, you'll find all of that gorgeous piano black trim, contrasting beautifully with this nice bright white paint scheme for the main body of the vehicle. As one would expect, you'll see the paint is in nice condition looking up into the light there. And as usual, I'll take you really close to the panel so as to notice any dings, dents, scratches, or any irregularities in the light reflection off the panel. As you can see, when we make our way to the rear of the driver's side, here on this side it all looks very nice. You also have a couple of small accents with this nice metallic silver trim carrying across the lower portion of the car, and some dark plastic cladding that adds to that nice contrast with the roofline. Now, also contributing to that contrast are these gorgeous 22-inch wheels. The sizing, I think, is perfect for a vehicle of this stature. I think it's not too big, not too small, and you still have enough sidewall to promote a nice, comfortable ride. But also, they have a nice contrast of their own. You'll find the interior of the spokes finished in that gorgeous metallic gray paint, and the outer portion is that nice machine finish that gives it that slightly flashy but still relatively reserved look. And it really does add a lot to the particular spec of this Range Rover. Now we'll make our way here to the front fascia to take a quick look at some more silver accents that add to the contrast on the side there. You'll find that nice grille in the front and center of your front fascia in a nice metallic silver. Your headlight lenses are crystal clear. They're not showing any signs of oxidation, discoloration, or scratching. They present very nicely. And looking across the general condition of the front fascia, minimal if any major rock chipping or damage. It all presents very well. And the lower portion has some more black plastic cladding and silver trim. You can also see a couple of your cameras hidden there. Pretty subtle, but they are really nice to have, and I'll show you some more of that once we get inside the vehicle. Now making our way to the passenger side. Yet again, I'll take you really close to the panel. Look for any dings, dents, scratches, etc. And to my eye, as we make our way past the rear doors, you'll find it all presents very well, just as it does on the other side. Again, piano black trim all looking very nice, and that piano black trim blends beautifully with that gorgeous panoramic sunroof panel that you see above your occupants. When you're on the interior, we'll take a better look at that. And another quick look at these wheels. Again, very nice condition, no curb rash at all to be seen. Pardon me. It all looks very nice here on the passenger side as well. Now finally, making our way to the rear of the vehicle, you do have some more of that silver trim with your Range Rover badge script just there, as well as your Land Rover and Supercharged badges here. Lower portion does have some more of that black plastic cladding, and the center panel that does remove to accommodate any of your towing needs. But next up, let's make our way to the interior, which is really what you want to be looking at when considering a Range Rover, because they are just absolutely stunning on the interior. You can see the nicest materials, the seat here on the driver's side in gorgeous condition. Move that seatbelt out of the way so you can see the whole bolster showing minimal wear, and the lower bolster showing even less, which is where you're going to expect to see most of the wear. Looking here at the passenger side, it all looks very nice just the same. And the center console armrest is no different. You also have these individual adjustable armrests for both of your seats, just adding to that customizable sense of comfort here, with a nice solid thunk as you close the door. Next up, let's fire it up here using the start-stop switch on the dash. You'll see the gauge cluster and this infotainment system come to life. As you can see here in the main gauge cluster, no strange warning lights or issues to report. It all looks very nice. As I say that, service required, that's just a reminder for an oil change or something similar, so we'll get that cleared out. But everything checks out Of course, all looks very nice in that fully digital display of your gauge cluster. Looking here at your infotainment system, everything checks out very nice. You can see firing up as you would expect. Throwing it in reverse will reveal some cameras. And there's also a separate button just here, which will reveal some more of those cameras that I mentioned before, including a full top-down 360 view, showing an accurate portrayal of where the vehicle is. You can see that parking line just there, and it does match up with what you see on the camera. That's a nice thing to have in multiple different circumstances. Looking here across the dashboard, it's all in very nice condition. You have some nice stitched leather and piano black trim. All promotes this gorgeous look and feel of your interior. Of course, the steering wheel just ahead of me is no different. You have this double-stitched, leather-wrapped airbag cover, flanked by some nice controls that are all in perfect condition. My favorite of which being the heated steering wheel. So these leather portions here on either side are going to get nice and hot, and in the winter, that is an amazing comfort feature. Once you've had a car in the winter with heated steering wheel, it's pretty tricky to go back. And this also has heated and ventilated seats, which are controlled via these climate controls. And all you do is you push that dial in, and then rolling either side is going to go from either your cooled seat to your heated seat. So I love how they implemented 3 separate controls into that one dial you see there. So not only do you have your temperature adjustment, but also your ventilated and heated seat adjustment. Really intelligent design by Land Rover. Door panels are appointed very nicely. You have this gorgeous leather material that is soft to the touch. It has some nice padding behind it. You have your Meridian sound system fitted in this Range Rover. So, of course, Jaguar and Land Rover have worked with Meridian for a very long time. And, of course, having a vehicle to enjoy luxury like this Land Rover, it's no good without an amazing sound system, especially when you're so isolated from the world in such a quiet vehicle. And that Meridian system absolutely delivers. It sounds just phenomenal. Of course, some other controls and a bit of expandable storage here on either door panel, as you can see. As I mentioned, your climate controls and all of the surrounding controls all in great shape. And looking a bit further into the center console, you have some more of that piano black trim, where you will find your gear selector knob just there, which rises out of the dash as you start the vehicle. You have your Range Rover badge and your drive mode selector, which is currently in automatic, but if I pop that up, that dial will rise out of the dash and allow me to select from various different circumstances, whether I'm off-roading or driving in slippery conditions, or something where you need some more suspension flexibility. All of these are available with this one switch, but in automatic. Range Rover's been around long enough to know right around what you're going to need and when you're going to need it, so it's good to have that feature. Some more controls here with your cruise control, or rather your speed limiter, your traction control, and your suspension height adjustment. So this vehicle, the suspension can be adjusted on the fly, up, medium, or lowered, and it can be locked in that lowered position if necessary. So that's nice to have, and it functions perfectly on this vehicle. And lastly, of course, your parking brake, and nothing too crazy there. Looking above my head, lastly, you do have this gorgeous panoramic sunroof, and as you can see, with one tap, I can operate this nice sunshade. I always like to show this because sometimes these cloth shades can bunch up or have tears in them or marks, or they don't deploy properly. But as you can see, deploys absolutely fine, and it stows away just as easily and quickly. So it's nice to see that working as you would expect. But next up, let's make our way up under the hood so as we can take a look at the final thing that makes this vehicle so special and so fun to drive. I'll meet you there. All right, so now we're under the hood of the Range Rover Supercharged, taking a look at this gorgeous engine bay. And of course, the first thing you'll notice is all of these black plastic panels have a nice sheen to them. All the reservoirs are clear. Everything looks very clean here under the hood. I also, with these cars, like to look at those strut towers and make sure that the connections at the top of that adjustable suspension that we mentioned earlier are all intact and nice and clean, which of course they are in this instance. You'll see all of the hardware around your fenders and around the front of the vehicle are all free of any tick marks or any signs that they've been manipulated or adjusted in the past, so it's really nice here at the front. But of course, what we're really interested in is this engine in particular and what makes it such a nice fit for this luxury vehicle. And of course, my favorite two figures are 510 horsepower and 461 pound-feet of torque out of this 5-liter supercharged V8. Now, thanks to that supercharger, that monstrous torque figure is actually available to you at 2,500 RPM, which is very low in the rev range, giving you access to that power anywhere you need it, no matter if it's an on or off-road situation, if you decide to get ambitious with the Range Rover and really test its limits off-road. But thanks to that 8-speed gearbox connected to this engine, you really have a gear for any situation, anytime you need it, whether it's pulling onto the highway and needing to get up to speed quickly, or creeping up your steep, icy driveway in the middle of winter. Got your hands on that heated steering wheel. It's a really well-adapted vehicle for almost any situation you might find yourself in. And not to mention, this engine, despite being very powerful, is also going to see around 19 miles per gallon on the highway, which for a vehicle in this segment and this size is actually a pretty good figure. Now we'll take a look at your second row of seating, where you'll find it very well appointed. These seats are in really nice condition, and they are made up of the same materials as the beautiful seating up in the front. You also have this nice center console area with a couple of climate vents for either side occupant. You also have temperature adjustment for either side, so this is a 4-zone climate control system, as you do have your own adjustments up front. You also have 3-way heated seats for these 2 seats, and pardon me, when I say 3-way, I mean 3-way adjustable. So you do have 3 different levels of heated seat for either your far passenger or far driver side. Pardon me, we have a local automotive enthusiast trying to tell us how much they love this Range Rover. Anyway, so we have just below that a couple of power outlets and a Range Rover badge. Now, one last thing to point out is that I am relatively tall. I'm about 6'4", and I have that driver's seat positioned perfectly comfortable, more room than I would need, plenty more. This is a very relaxed driving position, and as you can see when I make my way inside, I have absolutely no shortage of legroom, no shortage of headroom. I'm very comfortable, as we see a local officer about to go tell that enthusiast how much he likes his exhaust. And as you can see, very, very nice condition and situation here for your second row occupants, and of course the door panel is very well appointed with some more of those Meridian speakers there. Now lastly, making my way to the rear of the vehicle, we're going to open up that tailgate with one touch. It's going to power operate, and this being a split tailgate, it takes one more button there to drop down that lower panel and reveal a nice area where you can use this as a seat or somewhere to you know, work on stuff, whatever you need. It's nice to have this little extra panel sticking out further than the back of the vehicle, giving you a bit of area to work with. It's nice to have, and I've always liked split tailgates, especially ones with this electronic operation. As you can see here, you do have all of the original rubber all-weather mats with some metal hardware on the edges and that Range Rover badge in the center, as well as one large rubber mat protecting the beautiful carpet underneath. You also have this privacy blind here to, you know, hide away any of your you know, personal belongings that you wouldn't want seen just by looking into the windows of the vehicle. And you also have a power outlet here in the back just behind that vent. So by pushing this button just here again, you'll see this tailgate rises itself right back up. And by pushing this button here, the main tailgate will do just the same. And you see it latch there in just the way it's designed to. But if you have any further questions related to this gorgeous Land Rover Range Rover Supercharged, please reference the listing at alphacars.com, and there you'll find all of the relevant contact information. We would be more than happy to answer any of your questions. Thank you so much for your time, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. We hope to hear from you soon. Thank you from AlphaCars.